Welcome to CelinaRadio.com. Recorded right here in Celina, Texas, a quiet little dusty, sleepy town that has absolutely nothing going on. Guys, I am so totally kidding about that. Of course, this is Celina, Texas, and we have everything going on here. Now, I'm Ron Lyons. This is CelinaRadio.com, and we intend to have a good time. So put on your seatbelt, and let's get started. And there it is, your first intro to CelinaRadio.com. Like I said, I'm Ron Lyons, and I am very, very grateful that you're here. It just seemed to me that there was a need for something like a podcast based on Celina, Texas. A little bit of background. I have actually been here in Celina since, 1993. I started as a police officer here. And I've gone back and forth between Frisco and Celina, but basically in the area since 1993. So that definitely makes me kind of a long-term person around here now. These days, I do real estate. Got some crazy things going on in this real estate market, but that's not really what this show is about. I've got a big nationally syndicated show called the Ron Lyons Real Estate Show, and we talk all about real estate stuff over there. So are we going to talk about real estate sometimes? Yeah, probably, because it's a large part of what's going on in Celina, but it's definitely not our primary focus. So my vision for this show is just that it's going to be more of a laid-back, casual, kind of a chat session between you and I, even though you're not sitting right here. So what will we talk about? Well, maybe politics, maybe restaurants, maybe try to keep you updated on what's going on around town. There's probably so much going on that it's nearly impossible to keep up with it all. So basically, awesome stuff presented to you the best way I know how. And that's my vision for CelinaRadio.com. And as it's always going to be, and as it always has been on my other show, I am always very, very open to any suggestions that you may have, any sort of feedback, anything like that, anything that's going to help improve this show and make it better. Because at the end of the day, you and I have something very much in common, and that is that we both love Celina, Texas. So my original intention for the first episode of CelinaRadio.com was to bring you interviews with some of the folks that we have locally running for city council and school board. But logistically, time-wise, it just didn't all line up for episode 1. So we're still working on that for episode 2. And what I think is going to be super cool about that is I don't want to just talk about platform. I mean, we will definitely have to get into that a little bit, but I want you to get to know the people who are actually running. There's so much more to a candidate than just their views and perspectives. And sometimes that's all we look at. So that's just like looking at the intro to a book and not really getting into the chapters in the middle of the book. So I want to know more about these people who are running for office. And I think you're going to find that fascinating. I certainly do. I love political stuff, and I've run for office before. And I just think it's amazing. It certainly has a whole lot to do with shaping the future of Celina. So we'll try to get that together for episode 2 of the Celina Radio Show. But right now, let's just switch gears a little bit, and let's talk about the Celina wine crawl. You went to that, right? It was just a couple of weeks back, and it was so much fun. So I'm not a big-time wine drinker, but I love participating in things like that. So basically, the Celina Chamber of Commerce put this event on downtown. So everyone kind of got together. Of course, you had to purchase tickets in advance, and this thing always sells out. So I noticed quite a few people who were showing up saying, hey, what's going on? And who would have loved to participate, but you didn't get your tickets early, don't get to do it. But I guarantee you next year they're going to be early. They're going to buy their tickets, and that's what you should do as well. So everybody met up on one corner of the square, and then you had a map of all these different places where these different wineries had set up shop, basically, and you could go into these places of business like Annie Jack's on the square and even Hey Sugar, different places like that, and sample these different wines from these wineries and do a little bit of shopping at the same time. And you just basically kind of went on this little adventure around the square, and it was a blast. So I'm very thankful to the Chamber of Commerce and the city for putting on events like that. That was so much fun. And if you haven't been around Celina for very long, you'll find that we do lots of things like that. So it was very enjoyable, and I look forward to the next one. Speaking of Annie Jackson being on the square and that sort of thing, have you tuned in to what's going on around downtown Celina right now? There is an awful lot of work going on over on, I guess, what is that, the northwest side over there. And a lot of people think that that's where they've broken ground and they're building the new city hall and that sort of thing. And that's actually not the case. So I was speaking pretty recently with one of our city council members here in Celina. And essentially what's going on over there is they're putting in the infrastructure so that down the road, when they do put in the new city hall over there, all of the things like your drainage system, your wastewater, all of that sort of thing is already done. So I kind of got my hopes up a little bit, thinking that we were already, moving ahead with the new city hall over there. But that's not actually the case. So if you see all of that construction, understand that you're not going to see this new great big building going up pretty soon, but they are putting everything underground right now that needs to be done so that in the very near future, we can have an amazing city hall downtown. So, and it's going to be amazing. One of the cool things about Celina is that we get to learn from everything that's happened further south down Preston Road ahead of us. So Frisco did an amazing job. They learned a lot from Plano. And I'm not 100% sure that Prosper's really on board with everything right now. That's, there's so many different viewpoints on what's going on in Prosper. But what I do know is that a lot of people are bypassing Prosper, and they're literally coming straight onto Celina for better or for worse. And I say that because we all want Celina to stay small and have this little hometown feel, but we also have to be very realistic and understand that exact same thing that we love so much about Celina is what is going to keep these people coming in. So let's welcome them. Celina is absolutely amazing. Let's continue to make it amazing. So we'll hold on to the small town feel, and the heart and the soul of Celina will always be a part of who we are, but don't see it as a negative. See it as an opportunity to make new friends and to continue to be a part of the process of making Celina the most amazing city in the country. So now you know a lot more about what we're going to do and kind of what the feel of Celina Radio is. There's so much that I have planned for this little podcast. It's definitely not even starting to scratch the surface right now. There's so many things to talk about, so much going on in the city, but I'm going to ask you for something early on, something that's going to help me make this podcast even better, and that is that I want to hear from you. I want to know your story. I want to know what you love about Celina. I want to know do you have a family? Are you just kind of getting started in life? Maybe you're single and Celina is what you call home, and you're kind of planning your life out and you see Celina as a big part of it. Maybe you're here with your family. Maybe you moved here from somewhere else. Maybe you've been in Celina all your life. Maybe you're watching all of this change and it's got you a little apprehensive. It's got you a little concerned. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you. So if you will, remember Ron at ronlyons.com. That's my personal email. And I'd love for you to just drop me a quick note. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your situation. Tell me what you think about everything that's going on here. So I just need that feedback because I want to know. I want to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in this city that I love so much. So if you do that for me, I would appreciate that greatly. Again, it's Ron at ronlyons.com. RONLYONS. Ron at ronlyons.com. So we're going to wrap the show up right here. I think this is probably a good point. You've stayed with me for over 10 minutes already, and that's fantastic. I will forever be grateful for your time. I know it's valuable, and I want to make the best use of it. I want to give you something back. So let me say this. Thank you so very much for being here. Please tune in for the next episode. I think you're going to love hearing from the candidates. We've already received some affirmations that a couple of them are going to be on here. I'm still waiting on a response from some of the others, but we'll pull that together, and we're going to learn more about the people who want to step into leadership in this city, whether it be on city council or for the school board, any type of position that's going to influence Celina and our lives. So that's it for now, guys. I love the fact that we share our passion for Celina in common, and I look forward to visiting with you again. So until next time, guys, God bless, and I'll see you on the next show.